Wow, some intense stuff coming from you guys about P. Diddy. We're going deep on this one: drug use, sexual assault, even organized crimes on the table.
Yeah, definitely a lot to unpack here. And it's important, like always, we got to remember allegations. Nothing's proven. Nobody's been to court.
Right. Innocent until proven guilty, always. But you flagged this lawyer, Tony Buzbee. He's making some pretty wild claims for his clients.
Yeah, and Busby, he's not messing around saying he's got 120 people ready to sue Diddy. That's not just a couple disgruntled folks. It's, that suggests a pattern, potentially.
120. Over how long? Are we talking like recent stuff or?
No, this goes way back. He's saying late 90s, early 2000s. Diddy's heyday, basically. And it's men, women, even some who were really young back then.
Hold on. How young are we talking?
Busby mentioned one potential victim. She was only 9 years old at the time. 9. Oh, man, that's rough.
Yeah, if that's true. Adds a whole other level to this, for sure.
Before we get too far, there's the other thing, right? That indictment against Diddy, totally separate.
Right. Totally different case, but just as serious. Racketeering, sex trafficking, prostitution, it's all in there.
Racketeering. Okay, gotta admit, sounds like a mobster movie. What are they saying? He's running some music industry mafia.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
They're saying he was part of a whole criminal enterprise, structured and everything, not just, one-off stuff.
So 2 sets of victims, 2 sets of incidents, all swirling around Diddy.
Seems that way, yeah. And when it comes to Busby's clients, he's saying Diddy was drugging some of them.
Which is where we get to the horse tranquilizer, right? Saw that and I was like, what? That's not your average beer and too much tequila situation. Yeah, this is serious stuff. He specifically named Xylazine, tranq, powerful sedative. Vets use it, mostly on big animals.
So, not something you find in a nightclub bathroom. What does that tell us about what Busby's alleging?
I mean, it points to these victims being drugged without knowing, without consenting, could be premeditated even.
And this wasn't just one time, right? You said this tranq keeps coming up.
Exactly. It's a pattern, if Busby's telling it straight.
Yeah.
And he's highlighted some specific cases, like that woman hospitalized.
20 years old, right. What happened there?
That's right. 20 years old. Went to a party Diddy was throwing, said she only had 1 drink, doesn't remember anything after, ends up in the hospital, tests show cocaine, xylazine, the whole 9 yards.
God, that's scary. And there was another one, alleged assault happened in Diddy's SUV.
Yeah, she was 26.
Yeah.
Said Diddy picked her up from the airport, gave her a drink in the SUV, then she blacks out. Woke up next day, hurt, clothes missing.
Again, gotta say, just allegations right now. But man, even just hearing it, it's messed up.
No doubt. These are serious, serious accusations.
Right.
And the fallout could be huge for everyone involved.
Okay, so where's Diddy in all of this? What's he saying?
His lawyers. They're not mincing words. Flat out denial, calling it all lies, slander, the works. Saying Diddy's ready to fight this tooth and nail, clear his name.
Okay, so Diddy's team is denying this all. That sets the stage for a big ol' legal fight then. What do you think's going to happen next?
Well, Buzbee says he's going to file those lawsuits in the next 30 days or so. Once that happens, things are going to get really interesting. We'll see what specific charges they bring, what evidence they have, and how everything plays out in court.
Right, that's the real action, right? Once those lawsuits drop, it's going to be a media frenzy. It makes you wonder why these allegations are surfacing now, after all these years.
You're right. That's the question a lot of people are asking. Maybe some of the alleged victims are feeling empowered, like the hashtag #MeToo movement gave them the courage to come forward.
Yeah, it's like one person speaks up, and then it starts this ripple effect, encouraging others to share their stories.
Exactly. And there's strength in numbers. When you have 120 people making similar accusations, it's harder to brush it off as a few bad apples. You can't ignore that.
And speaking of Buzbee, he's not just some random lawyer, right?
Not at all. He's known for taking on cases against powerful figures, usually involving accusations of sexual misconduct.
Right. He represented the women who accused Deshaun Watson.
That's right. Those were some pretty heavy allegations, too. So you can see why people are paying attention to what Buzbee is saying about Diddy.
Right. It's not like he's just picking a fight. What do you think his strategy is here?
I imagine he's got a few things in mind. He's a sharp lawyer. He knows the legal landscape. But you also have to consider the media impact. This is a big case everyone's watching.
It's a tough balance, though, right? Because it's important to hold powerful people accountable, but you don't want to exploit a sensitive situation for personal gain.
Totally. That's the fine line, right? But don't forget, there are real people at the heart of all this, people whose lives are being affected by what's happening.
So easy to get caught up in the drama and the headlines, but we got to remember the humans in the middle of all this.
Yeah. You're right. And these allegations, if they're true, point to a bigger problem, the power dynamics in these industries.
We see that time and again. So what's the takeaway here? What can we learn from this, and what can we do to prevent it in the future?
It's not easy, but we have to change the culture. We need to create a space where people, especially young artists, feel safe to come forward, where they know they'll be taken seriously and protected.
Make sure everyone feels heard and make sure everyone's accountable no matter how powerful they are.
Exactly. This case, with all its craziness, shows how important transparency and accountability are in the music industry and beyond.
This has been a lot. What's the big takeaway? What do you want our listeners really thinking about after we're done here?
Well, first off, remember, this isn't over. Buzbee's going to file those lawsuits.
Yeah.
And then we'll get the real nitty-gritty, what exactly is being alleged.
Right, those lawsuits, that's going to be huge. But even beyond that, zoom out for a sec. This whole thing, what's it say about, I don't know, about the music world, about power?
Makes you think, right? For me, it goes back to believing people who speak out, especially when there's such a difference in power. Easy to get caught up in the gossip, but these are real people, real lives.
So true. It's not just Diddy and his career, there are people who say they were hurt, and that matters no matter what a judge and jury say.
100%. And this can be bigger than just Diddy, right?
Yeah.
This can make people look at how we protect, I don't know, anybody chasing a dream, any field, not just music, making sure they're safe.
So how do we do that? Safe, respected, all that. How do we make that happen?
It's got to start from the top down. Transparency, people in charge held accountable. Make it so anyone can speak up without being scared.
Nobody's too big, right? No matter who you are, actions have consequences.
Exactly. If anything good comes from all this, I hope it's that a real change.
Yeah, heavy stuff. Appreciate you breaking it all down for us.
Anytime. Glad to do it.
And to everyone listening, thanks for being here for this deep dive. We'll be back soon with more. So until then, keep asking those questions.